So last week we talked about the movement of foot.
Movement of feet versus change of direction, agility stuff.
Yep. That was pretty interesting. And we weren't the only people to be interested in the Speedy Gonzalez demonstration. You found some interesting comments. So James found a thing that you then linked, which was of that guy actually doing legit agility. In
the NFL player, where he goes and just the equivalent of a crossover and just destroys his opponent. And then the same page, I think it's called Science for Sport, they posted a similar video, the similar speedy feet one, and talked about this being real agility, that change of direction. And they also talk about that reaction to stimulus, which we didn't quite cover last week, that reaction to stimulus, which is true agility. But then the comments.
The comments are so funny. So, like, there's one guy who's like, oh, he had to use a ladder to get this. This isn't. It's like agility ladders are a little religion.
Yeah.
And someone had, he was talking about how they can increase vertical, they can do this.
And then someone goes, yeah, but here's an article saying they can't. And they goes, oh, it's not the only thing you would use. You do other things.
Yeah.
It's not sports science and strength and conditioning. It's not in or out. It's not binary. There's so much grey in the middle.
Yeah.
You do a little bit of everything. Do a little bit of ladders. Do a little bit of change your form.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah. So
I think what it highlights, what's interesting when you get into any of these deep debates where people have got really strongly held positions, is it highlights that confirmation bias phenomenon. Which I think if you don't understand confirmation bias, I don't think you can navigate your way intelligently through the world.
No, it's such a big thing about how we evolved and how we are.
So talk about confirmation. So we're going to talk about other stuff, but I just think you're going to preface controversial and interesting conversations with an understanding of confirmation bias.
Yeah, so we as a species evolved with efficiency and survival in mind. Everything was about surviving and saving energy and making sense of the world. So to do that, if we heard a roar,
and sorry to cut off, particularly the brain is like crazy intense in terms of its use of glucose.
20%, was it 10% of our body, but uses 80% of energy, something insane.
Yeah.
The rest, so it burns through all this glucose. The more you think, the more energy you burn, which is just a threat to your survival. So back in caveman times, paleo times, we hear a roar, we freak out. That's just our body telling us there's something going on. Even if it's not, it alerts us early.
Amygdala tells you and all that stuff.
So confirmation bias is kind of like we fit things to fit our mold, to fit the mold that our brain's already got, so that we know, so we can save energy and make predictions and sort of guess ahead of time. And so instead of thinking and analysing, confirmation bias sort of tells us, oh, that's a roar, it's a lion, freak out. And it's a little more complex now. So we tend to think, if something is away, we just automatically sort of fit it into what we already know, our preconceived ideas and notions, and then just go about our business and don't actually challenge and question things, because that's energy intensive.
And that hurts.
Exactly, yeah.
And so you see it all the time where people will have an existing view and they will twist the incoming input to fit. So racism is the classic. I think it's the best example. Most of those isms are pretty confirmation bias loaded, and you talk to the people and they just twist stuff around to make it fit their worldview. And you also see it with agility ladders, and quite
deep squatting is another one.
Yep. I'm not going to touch that today.
That's a whole other topic.
But I think it probably applies a lot to what we're going to talk about now, which is crazy internet box jumping.
Yes, there's 2 levels of box jumping I think in the world.
I think there might be 3. You tell me.
3. I think there's 2. There's
2 broad categories. Yeah,
there's ones that are safe and moderate height and challenging, but effective.
Yeah. And
then there's the ones that end up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which are somewhere around chest or above height, that involve a run up and some sort of slow mo.
And the first category, the ones that are good but are very uninteresting to watch, because just a guy jumping up to a moderately high box, landing with a really nice landing technique. It's important, I think, to emphasise that's how box jumping. That's the
that was invented.
That's the reason for it. The reason was, let's find a way where we can get a really good impulse to move, concentric load, not too much eccentric, so that we're not overloading the body. And so it's a great thing to do in pre-season. It's a great build to work on your hops without having without paying too much of a price in terms of eccentric damage.
Yeah, so you can do effectively the box jump allows you to do extra jump training, because no one hurts himself leaving the ground, they always hurt themselves coming down from a ground reaction force point of view. So box jumps allow you to do more jump training effectively without having to worry about the landing and the coming back down.
And the DOMs from that, and
Yeah.
all sorts of things. So you're getting effectively a sub-gravity landing.
Yeah.
And so a good box jump is where your landing position is identical to your takeoff position.
Thanks, Mike Boyle, for that
Yeah,
one.
that's my fault. And it just makes so much sense. So you're going to have to do a moderate height because you can't do those crazy high ones unless you're actually getting the height. So that's the good stuff. The internet ones tend to be crazy high because
Somewhere around here, when you're standing up. Yeah.
yeah, and I think people get very excited and I'm doing box jumping to improve my vertical. It's like, well, but are you? And again, with the Mike Boyle reference, Boyle has just put Functional Strength Coach Volume 6. Go out and buy it. I think it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And the theme for that one is Start With Why, which is also a great book. Well, the name.
Someone, I'll link his name under here as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not in there.
Great book. And his thing is Start With Why. And talking about how too many people start with what. So kettlebells or box jumps or agility ladders or just it's always what. Whereas start with why. Okay, why are you doing that?
What's our goal? What do we want to achieve with this exercise?
Yeah. And so that's a good lens to look at it all with. But yeah, so the internet box jumping. The pros that are touted for it.
Well, by jumping high, you kind of have to work harder.
Yeah.
So it's like, if the box is only here, I'll only jump a little bit. I won't put 100% effort in. If I make the box really high, I have to jump with 100%.
Yeah.
And that's true to a degree, I suppose, but there's ways to get around that.
Yeah, like that's true if it was outlawed to have a vertec.
Yeah.
If there was a prohibition against touching high things, and the only way you can improve your vertical
Jumping on things,
then it was that would make sense. But it's like everywhere we go, we've got every high performance center typically has a vertec. You've got a hoop, we've got a hoop and a vertec.
Yeah.
But you've got things you can jump up to.
But from a boxing point of view, to lower the eccentrics,
Yeah.
you can still jump on a moderate box and just think about jumping high.
Yeah.
That intent to move, which we linked a while ago, you can jump all the way up and come back down to the box.
Yeah.
You don't have to chase a higher and higher box. And that's the other sort of benefit to a high box jump is, we can progress with numbers, 110 centimeters, 120 centimeters, 130. You can see progress in your jumping, but are you actually seeing progress in your level you're getting off the ground, or are you just tucking higher?
Yeah, I think you're just getting better at getting your feet up. Although some people are also improving because if you don't do a skill, then you do a skill. There's a decent chance that will improve. So if you're not doing jumping and you start doing box jumps, you'll probably get some improvement. But I think also the issue I see is that people have these massively. They'll talk about, I just did a 140 centimeter box jump, as though their vertical's 140 centimeters, and it's not. Like we're talking about people with a 70 to 80 centimeter vertical if they're lucky.
Yeah, on a very good day.
Really good day. Talking about how they've got this huge box jump because it's not actually a vertical; it's a completely different thing. And then I guess the cons.
The tuck.
Yeah, I hate the tuck.
Yeah. So you jump, you get your 60, 70, maybe 80 centimeters if you're a freak jump, and then whatever you don't get is a rapid tuck. So you're extending tiny impulsive extension, triple extension into the ground, and as soon as you leave, you're fighting to get your legs up under you so you can get on top of the box. So it's a push and then a quick tuck.
Yeah. So it's like a jump without a follow through. You're not, the proper jump should actually be terminal hip extension. You explode, you lock the hips out, you fly through the air, you land, and then drop. But they're like tucking as soon as they've got a little impulse into the ground, they're too busy worrying about making the catch, and they're tucking under. Yeah.
Yeah. Jumping in sport, all jumping done in sport is about extending and staying extended.
Except for like a jumping knee in the face for
Yeah.
Muay Thai.
But you look at volleyball, you look at basketball, you look at a cricket slipsman trying to dive, you look at
you stay extended.
Yeah. Everyone stays extended, and so this box jump kind of same as Olympic lifting, like a full depth Olympic lifting. You've got this trade-off between extension and flexion, which you don't see on most sporting fields. And so they get this tuck, and then on the top of the tuck, when they do, if they happen to make the landing and catch it safe, then you've got that rapid landing in this huge tucked up ball position.
Yeah, particularly, it's not something I'm chasing for my
Patellofemoral compression.
Yeah.
Flex lumbar spine, core in a bad position, glutes in a bad position to work.
Everything's in a position where it can't work.
And so you're just loading up the ligaments and the joints.
The saving grace is that there's not a lot of impact force because you're not coming back. It's not like you're doing a tuck jump back down to the ground. But even so, it's like, well, do we need to be doing that? And what's the benefit you're getting from that? So I think the issue is you don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater because people will go, oh, well, then we shouldn't do box jumps. It's like, no, you should do a good quality box jump
to moderate height.
Yeah.
And land the way you left the ground.
If you land the way you left the ground, it's a very valuable thing to have done, I think. And it gives you time to fine tune that landing and really get that soft, stable, glutey, absorbed, good landing. So there's heaps of benefit to doing a non-exciting box jump.
The last thing I want to touch on is the safety element of that height.
Yeah.
Because you see the ones on YouTube, oh, he jumped over his head, he jumped over his mate, or he landed on this thing that was, this rickety, dangerous stuff.
Yeah, rickety.
People don't consider the ones that missed. How many attempts did he have where he skinned his knee or he landed on his chin?
Can you find someone post?
Oh, I'll find so.
Can you find a good one too though? Sorry.
No, I'll find some good ones. I'll put them in earlier, and then I'll put in some bad
My
ones.
My favourite is the Chinese Olympic lifters.
They're incredible.
And they're doing it onto plates, which normally I wouldn't approve of at all. But they're just so explosive, and
They float,
just
fly up there.
it's incredible. Tom Ma, who's currently the Chinese Olympic basketball, women's program basketball coach, he was there, and then he came back and was my head coach of the Boomers for a while, and now he's back over there now. I remember him telling me he saw a 5'5" Olympic lift, because sometimes the Ollie lifters would come into where the basketball program was training, and he said he's 5'5" guy, just gets the ball, stands under the ring, bang, and he was just blown away by that.
Wow.
But yeah, those guys are pretty cool.